I am Rubens Kignel, psychotherapist and teacher in body psychotherapy, and we are here in Athens for the 15th European Congress of Body Psychotherapy.
Yes.
And I'm happy to be here with my colleague and friend Herbert Grassmann from Germany.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
And
I mean, this is really a hard question. What is psychotherapy?
yes,
Well, I can say when something is easy. Something is easy when it feels light. It feels like not so much tension. It feels more like relaxation. It feels in your whole body. It doesn't feel just in your thinking, in your brain. It feels like coming from your heart. So when you ask me about body psychotherapy or psychotherapy in general, I would say if people feel happy in a way that they can engage their body, they can feel more and more their body, they know how to regulate their body, they know how to organize them and also the relationship with others. This is something going into psychotherapy. And then of course it depends on the issues somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm. So I understand, for example, that if somebody, sometimes people are not conscious, but sometimes people are carrying weights and they don't know, and this weight appears
Yes.
in the body posture somehow.
Yeah.
And as we work with that, we can see that, we can diagnose, and we can work with that energy that is blocked or is there for defense. Many different possibilities about the blocked energy. So that once we work with that energy, either through movement or to expression of emotions or to expression of sensations, as long as you let go of that, so you feel lighter and then you feel healthier. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Well, this is one way to see it, and I think this is really a good way to see it, but also coming from a structural understanding of a body, it always reminds me to the question, how is our body, our physical existence in relation to the gravity? I mean, when you really work physically, you have this question. You work with your hands, you work with the fascia system in your body, and you ask yourself every time, how is this body organized in a way that the relationship to the environment, to the gravity is really healthy and light. And if this relationship is really healthy and light, you can feel it like the weight comes down from the body. You straighten up your spine, you feel much more lighter, you can feel more breath inside, your movement is easier. So there's a lot of positive things going on. But it's not just physically. As we know, our body is also giving signals to our mind or to our emotion. So when we work on the body, we also feel like our thoughts becomes lighter. Our emotion change in a way that comes from heaviness to more solution. We find more and more solutions also in our emotions. So everything becomes more easy.
Yeah, I remember a patient of mine, for example. She's a beautiful woman, but she has kind of back like that, and when I look at her, it's like she was heading to the past, and as long as we started to work on herself, through the body, through the breathing, and she was more like that. It looked like she was going more to the future than to the past. Hanging on the past or going to the future. And this relationship...
it's so nice to be part of it.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Somehow, of course you can go to the future carrying a weight. But it's, of course, as you said, it's much easier to go to the future not carrying so much weight.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes. It's lighter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this would be also for me a definition between how could you distinguish between stress or stress symptoms in your body and trauma or trauma symptoms. What is
Yes.
the difference?
Yes.
For me, it's really easy.
Mm.
If your body finds a solution,
Mm.
I would call it stress. So maybe it's a lot of stress, but it's still stress because our body finds something to work on. They find, you would say, a future, something to move.
Yes.
When your body don't find any solution because it's, for example, overwhelming or just too much, then our body creates trauma symptoms. So this is the difference.
It's good you're we're bringing up the word trauma because it just remind me a student of mine from some other country, where I would call that a traumatic situation. I will describe to you and see maybe you can share a bit.
Yeah.
I was working with this woman and I was demonstrating to the group how to follow a movement that is hidden or is blocked in the body. Was only that the instruction. So I started to follow a bit what she was showing in her body, and then the movement started to come against me, and then suddenly she became a bit more emotional, and she stopped and she said, memories coming to my mind that I never thought would come here right now. So it was not that it was new, but she was
astonished.
Astonished about that, and I didn't know anything about that. So she had the memory that her father, would surprise her from the back and come and touch her breast since she was very young. And that was something that was very invasive, abusive for her, and she could not say anything to the father, and she could not even defend herself from that situation.
Yes.
Because it was her father, second because it looked like a playful situation for the father.
Yes, so it was a little bit ambivalent, I would say. So,
ambivalent, exactly.
So it looks playful, but it wasn't really playful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the work that came out of that was the recovering of the feeling in the arms, so that the arms could protect her from the approach of the father, or give limits to people nowadays.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So it's like she was gaining again the arms.
Isn't it great?
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
So she was gaining the opportunity to give limits around her to whatever was necessary. And what came out in the end was, with a lot of affection, was saying to the father, look, I like you, but don't do that to me again. Say, stay there, don't abandon me, but don't do that again because it was too much.
Yes.
Yes.
That's something she couldn't say. She couldn't even, her body even couldn't express this.
Yes. And when you work with trauma, do you think, do you have this kind of...
Yes. It's coming out. Maybe it's coming out a little bit slower because my experience is when you work with trauma symptoms, you have really to slow down. You really have to take your time. As you said, because things are getting really quick when you go into a trauma field.
Yes.
Just think about an accident or something coming really fast to you. Your body even don't have the time to orient yourself. So it's so quick. So in order to work with this detailed sensation, you have to slow down and really be in a way mindful or keep aware that things are speeding up really. fast. So when you do this, then you can work with what I call the sensomotor system. It's not just your sensoric system, but it's also your motoric system.
Yes.
And both are together. You feel, you sense something, and at the same time there are some impulses, like your action plan is in it. So you work back and forth to make sure that that people can sense it, but also find a solution in for example, in movement.
Mm.
So step by step when you work. But I have a general rule before I work with clients with trauma symptoms. I make sure that they can work with stress symptoms. So I work before with stress symptoms, and then I work with trauma symptoms.
From
So
the
I-
stress
yeah.
to the trauma. Yes.
So I train the nervous system in the
Yeah.
body. In
Oh,
that way.
yeah, it makes
Because
sense.
sometimes people are so traumatized that it's just too much, even when you go there. So you have to find something more easy to work with the nervous system and that your body is able to react.
Well, as you talk about that, this reminds me the word tolerance. You
Tolerance,
know, and how much people can tolerate,
yeah.
even in the psychotherapy. You know,
Yeah.
how much they
Yeah.
can tolerate.
Yes.
So
Yes.
even the therapist should be very much aware
Yeah.
and not to be too much or not to be too less, and then fight.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Sometimes we just want to help or to make things good, but
Yeah.
it might be too much
Yeah.
already. So what probably you also learn from this congress is how important it is as a therapist to engage all this process, to be in a somatic resonance, whatever comes up.
Yes.
It's not just watching the client, but it's also what do you feel by yourself when you watch this.
Mm.
So you as a client, this is really important that you observe this.
So it's like the therapist.
You as a therapist.
You as a therapist,
Yeah.
make a reflection.
Make a reflection, yeah.
What would be
Yeah.
for you if you were in
Yeah.
this kind of
Yeah,
situation?
yeah.
Is it something like that?
Something like that. If,
Yeah.
if a client comes and tell you something, so what do you feel as a therapist inside?
Mm.
What is your first impression? Do you really want to work with it, or you
Yeah.
would say, maybe you give this to a colleague to you, or maybe you say, oh, I can do this. Or what is your first reaction?
Yes.
So this is important.
Yes. And Herbert,
Mhm.
you have a school, no?
I have a
Where is
training institute in Germany, in Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
Nuremberg,
Yes.
which is in Bavaria, near Munich. It's a
Yes.
nice old town with the
Yes,
church. So
yes,
it's pretty
yes.
easy life there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it.
In the institute, what's the name of this? Is there a name or?
Yeah, well, I call this the SKT Institute, Structural Core Therapy, or strukturelle Körpertherapie in German. And I combine the semantic work, the structural work, with elements from mindful, like Hakomi, or trauma work. I learned a lot from Peter Levine and Pat Ogden, so they are my great teachers. So I try to get this and develop this a little bit more
Yes.
with my understanding.
Yes. Yes. And also, you are doing that work also in Natal, right? In Brazil.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So which is really fun because I was surprised how, I have to say it, how easy it is to work there, because I thought, I don't know the language, or maybe I don't understand the culture, but it was no problem at all. It was,
There is a good reception.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like trauma is everywhere. In
Oh
every
yes.
country.
Oh sure.
So
sure.
maybe
Yeah.
the background is different, the culture is different,
Yeah.
but it's everywhere.
Sure.
It's-
Sure. We find
Yeah.
every country has problems with trauma. Either the problems come from family situations, either the problems come from social situations, from political situations,
Yeah.
or from ecological situations too,
Right.
like ecological traumas, like
Right.
tsunamis or tempests or.
Well, I worked last year in Bogota, Colombia.
Yes.
Also. And this is completely different to Brazil in my understanding, because you can still feel the political pressure there going on. It's still there, even if when they nowadays they want to make peace between different parties. You can, when you walk through the street, when you drive a car, you can feel the history of this country.
Sure.
So it's
it takes time.
It
takes time. Even in Brazil, for example, the military government was pretty hard there. You know, with a lot of tortures, etc., and impositions to the people, and this has already more than 20 years ago, and is still on the people the problems. You know. The Brazilian people still reacting against that trauma in the same with the same kind of energy. Yeah.
So this work, what we are doing, is so important.
Yes.
So any more questions?
Anything? No question, but anything else comes to your mind, or?
Well, I'm just listening to our dialogue.
Yeah.
I found it really easy to talk with you. So it's
thank you.
So it's really easy, and you're an expert because you give me such things to think about it, so it's really easy talking with you.
Well, makes easier the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because it's between two people.
Yes.
At the moment, it's between two people, and of course you facilitate that. You give that with your kind affection and attention and nice affective look and voice, and so you allow people. Do you practice meditation too?
Yes, I'm a Buddhist.
You practice meditation every day?
I did, for example, Aikido for 20 years, so I know how to concentrate energy.
Yes. You know how to fall down, right?
Yes. Yes. Sometimes
that's very important.
Sometimes it's still difficult, but we learn a lot. When you start Aikido, you just fall down. You stand up, you fall down. You stand up. So, my shoulder. But then it becomes more and more easy.
Yes.
And Aikido, it's more about leading the energy from someone, being led. So it's like a
flow movement with like a dance.
And it helps also in conversation.
I also practice meditation and I do yoga. I do yoga almost every day. Even when I am here, I need to do some practice.
So you have a special exercise, yoga exercise? You have
in yoga?
Prominent yoga, how do you say, asana?
No, I do more. Because I am a person with a very vital energy. You know, I used to do sports a lot, so I like movement. So what I do Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is they say is a bit more powerful.
Okay.
I mean, it stretches a lot, and it demands a lot of energy, and the movements are one after the other.
Okay.
And
so it's also painful, or
not painful.
So what about if pain comes up? How do you deal with pain? Because this is also something I'm really studying, to work with pain. So
well, I mean, the suggestion is that you don't go into pain. The suggestion is if you feel pain, stop bit before, you know.
Okay.
And then next time you can go a little farther and a little farther and a little farther, you know.
Yeah.
So with age, for example, the body has more limitations.
Of course.
And then, for example, some positions they become more difficult to bending, etc. It becomes more difficult, and then we go to the limit that is possible, and we come back. But the results of a yoga session, a yoga a yoga session, we can say like that. For me, they are pretty good. It really helped me to preserve some things, not only in my body, but in my breathing and in my centering. It brought very good feelings to me.
So,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Herbert. I appreciate very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your
inviting me.
time,
Yeah.
for your availability,
Yeah.
and being together.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I
yes.
really enjoyed it.
And I appreciate to get to know you a
Yeah.
little better.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're a good man.
Yeah. So